if you want a cheap slice now, there's only one place to go: Costco. $1.50, you get a big ass slice of pizza and a drink.
That's not pizza though. Come on.
Oh, that's the hot dog thing. Oh, it's pretty good.
You better be able to speak clearly though while you're there. You might end up in a world of trouble.
I don't understand.
Nobody gets this reference.
No, help me.
The speech impaired man that was gunned down in Sacramento the other day at Costco.
Oh,
what did he do?
It's kind of a sad story now.
Well, it's the end of the laughs.
What did he do?
I see you're carrying samples outside of the premises.
What he did was die.
So I guess he wasn't able to follow police instructions. Is that the scoop?
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I really didn't look too deep into it. I just thought it was funny.
What was he doing there to make him pissed off?
I don't know. I think he was mentally impaired in some way. And not able to explain himself clearly, and then he was gunned down.
Sucks.
Yeah,
and at Costco of all places.
It reminds me.
That's my safe space.
There was a drunk guy who may have had an airsoft gun or airsoft. Yeah, I think an airsoft gun in his room earlier in the night, and the cops made him play this like ridiculous game of Simon Says for his life, like hands up, crawl. Crawl, hands up, crawl.
Pop it.
He's like, it. He doesn't know what to do. He's crawling on all fours. He's putting his hands up. I guess they wanted him to kneel walk or something.
Yeah, I remember that cop.
And they
that
shot him
such
for
a
it.
piece of shit.
They're
That
just like,
cop
lean
was
back.
such a piece of shit.
Crab walk.
Yeah.
Slide to the left. Cha-cha, real smooth. This is humiliating.
That would actually be better because people are more likely to know those moves.
You right?
Cops should totally make people electric slide. If they've ever been to like a lame party. And then it
would be like a reverse sobriety test. Where it'd be like, yeah, this guy's killing it on the electric slide at 2:30 in the morning. Book him.
Yeah,
like, he's clearly drunk.
He's good at it.
Hasn't missed a step.
Okay, so here's what happened. They got those like free food or free sample lines at Costco.
Okay.
Yeah,
big fan of that. Well, this guy died for samples. Yeah, he was apparently very hyped for I don't know some fucking nachos or something, and he was in line for them. And he pushed the police officer who was also in line. This is the mentally impaired gentleman. And the police officer drew his gun.
As you do.
As you do. And the kid's father tried to intervene. And so the cop shot him too.
Oh my God.
My God.
Those
there aren't enough pig in the blankets on that tray for the two of us.
So,
here's a new pig.
What's the status on the, I assume, off-duty cop right now? Are they...
there's a civil rights attorney involved now.
There's no criminal attorney involved. Seems like there should be. Seems like he should be facing murder charges.
Cops can get away with so much shit.
That's the craziest shit, though. And by the way, like you say California like that, California is known for being too progressive, which would mean they would prosecute the cop, not the other way around.
Not in L.A.
Oh, well, in L.A., I mean, L.A. cops do whatever the fuck they want. I actually had a situation where I had a bunch of online, like actual credible death threats. And so I talked to a friend of mine who's a prosecutor, and she's like a federal prosecutor. And I was like, who do I talk to about this? And she goes, well, you can go to your local police or you can go to the FBI. And I was like, I live in Los Angeles. I'm going to call the FBI. Like there was no hesitation at all. I was like, no fucking way am I calling the LAPD.
And you're getting patched through to like the loser of the FBI, where they're like, "What's this regarding? Terrorism? No, active shooting? Child porn ring? No, lot of mean DMs."
No, I actually
all right, you go to that guy.
I actually purposefully reached out to that guy. I figured it out. So I called. I was up in Oregon when this happened, and so my friend was like, "If you contact the FBI in LA, they're not going to do shit. So contact the local one where you are." Because, Portland, they're probably a little bit more bored. And so I called the one in Portland, and they were like, kind of interested, not sure. And they were like, okay, well, you can come in. And I was like, well, I'm actually in Salem right now. They're like, oh, we have a bureau in Salem. You should call them. So then I called Salem, and when they picked up, they were like, ooh, crime. Like, they were so excited. Nothing had happened there.
I went to the police once about... So here's the story. The guy that lived under me, I just sort of moved out on my own. It was my first apartment, and it was a low-income housing apartment. And what that means is that if you qualify, you get help with your rent. I didn't qualify. I made $14,000 a year. I mean, with my kind of money, they didn't they didn't help me. But
yeah, but this was when soda cost a quarter. So.
Yeah, right. So the guy that lived underneath me was awful. He was a drug dealer, and he beat his wife quite a bit. And you would hear her screaming and stuff like that. And like,
did she deserve it? Like, what'd she do?
Probably no. She seemed really nice.
Kyle, you're on probation. Behave.
He seemed like a real dirtball. I'm anti this guy, and he would also play his music loud. And you have to understand.
Oh, now I'm anti him too. I'm on board.
But
okay.
It sounds like a minor offense, but it was like super crazy loud, doors open, parties going on, like almost like a dare to come do something.
No,
about it.
Woody, that's not a minor offense. A neighbor playing their music loud to me is one of the worst things of the story already. Like I was kidding around, but also I'm on board.
Right, but like
nice.
I'm trying to differentiate between like played his TV loud, where maybe you hear it, and playing a concert for the neighborhood, which is what he was doing. And once or twice I would come down there and knock on his door if I heard him beating his wife. She'd be screaming for help. And
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And or if he even played his music loud, I would. But then other times I was pretty intimidated because I thought I was pretty fit at the time. I was probably like 22 or something, and young Woody was fit. I liked my chances, but other times he'd roll like 5 deep and I didn't. And he'd be outside threatening my car and shit, like how he was going to smash it and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wait. Can I
is
please?
PKA's cool guy.
Can I please picture this as the guy threatening your car while you weren't around?
No.
Like going up to your car
I'm
and be like,
upstairs.
Shit.
I'm not knowing what to do. I'm like, there's
take
5
one of your
of them
taillights
down
out.
there. That kind of thing. Like, I'll smash your taillights. I'll smash your headlights. Come out here. I'll smash your hood. I'll do this. And I'm like, I probably shouldn't go out there, because there's a lot of them, right? I don't like my odds at all. And
also, I like that he needed you to be out there for him to destroy your car. Like, he could have destroyed your car.
Right.
Anyway.
He wanted him to watch.
I had a roommate too, who was all.
He likes when they watch.
He was at least my equal. So when he was around, I felt even better still. But he had a girlfriend and a kid and stuff, and stayed not with me a lot. Anyway, so I went to the police about it. And I'm like, I got this guy and he's threatening me. Because I thought I was doing the right thing, instead of just like wrestling him in the parking lot. That's how I handle problems now.
Yeah.
And the police were like they were like, what is it? Is he a big guy? Is he bigger than you? And I'm like, nah, I think I got him. But I feel like I shouldn't. And they're like, maybe you should, you're right. Like they made me feel emasculated for coming to the police for help. And I'm like, he beats his wife all the time. I hear her down there screaming for help.
Hey boys, get a load of this ferry.
Yeah, it was like one step away from that. And in the end, like they didn't take a report. They didn't do anything. They said that I guess if maybe they offered to come if I caught him in the act. Like if he's outside threatening your car, give us a call again or something along those lines.
Jesus Christ.
But he was evicted shortly. Actually, I don't think he was evicted. I think the police pulled him out because he sold drugs to kids. His customers were all under 12.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What a terrible person.
He's hey, that's the cool guy of the week, Taylor.
Woody, you could also lead with that part.
I did. I said he sold drugs to kids.
You said he sold drugs. You weren't like to 10-year-olds.
Oh, they were
He
so
does
young.
it after his dog fight.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm like 20 at the time. So he was really bad. That was my first apartment.
I came home once and I'm walking up to my place and I see a couple of cops on the street and they're like pointing a giant gun at my place and laughing. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
This is a big rifle?
Like a big, it like
artillery.
It looked like
a Mickey Mouse handgun that weighs like 35 pounds.
Gun.
It looked like a cross between like a shotgun and a rifle. It was I hadn't seen something like that before.
Okay.
And so I just walked up. I go, but they're laughing and they're like pointing it and like pointing it away and pointing it back up. So I'm like, there's not a situation going on. So I go, excuse me, guys, but what? Like, what's happening right now? Like, I live there. And they go, oh. And they're laughing about it. And they're like, yeah, there was some call a couple blocks down. And, they thought they saw some guy with a gun and it was a movie set. And yeah, it turned out to be nothing. And I go, oh, okay. So how does that relate to you aiming a gun at my place right now. Like, I don't see the. You wanna not skip those dots because they're not connected right now. Yeah. And they were like, oh well, you know, we had to disarm the weapon, you know, because we had armed it, and I was like, you had to walk a couple of blocks to disarm with an armed weapon after you knew a situation wasn't going like.
Like,
and I said, I was
and
like,
it's armed again. Why don't we talk about what you're doing here?
Don't like it? Call the cops.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they pretty much said. They were like, we're the police. We know what we're doing. And I'm like, you're the LAPD. No, you don't. So I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, all right, maybe I'm overreacting. I don't know. Because I'm like, my dog's home. Like, what the fuck if it goes off, if it's something, you know? So I called a buddy of mine who's a state trooper. And I was like, hey, man, here's the situation. Am I in the wrong? And he goes, no, the first thing we're taught when we're given our firearms, even before we're given them, is never aim it at something you don't intend to shoot.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first rule. So I was like, okay, I'm going to call the local precinct. I'm now armed with information. Oh, and so I'm like, I'm going to call them.
Wait a minute, let me understand.
I was like the Bible camp counselor.
You decided to rat out.
Backwards hat away.
So you've now decided to rat out a member of the LAPD.
I have decided. I did not really think it through. You're correct.
To the other LAPD. This will work out. Yeah.
Steve is edging towards Cool Guy of the Week.
Hi, is this the LAPD?
I really thought my guy had it locked up.
I was really hoping that like I get someone being like, "Oh, those dumb rookies, let me talk to them," you know, like that kind of thing.
Okay.
But no. So I basically, the guy answered, and he pretty much gave me. It was a very similar response to like when the TSA fucks up if you ask for a supervisor. Like, it's a very similar response where they're like, this is a very hard job, okay? You don't know how hard this job is. Like, that's pretty much what they said.
Detective Mark Furman here. How can I help you, Mr. Hofstetter?
Yeah, it was utterly ridiculous. And I'm like, oh, so I just got to live with the fact that the cops think it's okay to just aim their guns and at me and find it hilarious.
No, the gun they aimed, it wasn't the fake movie gun, was it? Because you mentioned
no.
It was like it.
It was like this tactical assault fucking thing. Like,
okay.
And look, I don't know a lot about guns. You've known that ever since you started talking to me. But this was something where like the reason they were so excited about it was some sort of new thing, like some new toy that they had just gotten.
I thought that maybe because you didn't recognize it was a movie gun, you know, something like a Star Wars gun.
No. This thing was like it seemed like a very advanced. It was like a shotgun with a scope, is what it looked like. It was
have those in
fairly
COD.
impressive looking. Yeah, fairly impressive looking.